When it comes to trying and comparing different instruments, we found that there's not a lot of useful or reliable information out there, and often players with little experience are just left to their own devices. This is why we decided to put together this guide with tips for trying high-end professional violins, violas or cellos. Choosing the right instrument is an important and sometimes daunting decision for any musician. In this video, we'll share our best practices to help you feel confident about choosing the instrument that's right for you. My name is Pedro and I'm one of the founders of myluthia.co, where we specialize in fine contemporary violins, violas, cellos and bows from today's best makers. So whether you're actively looking for a new instrument or you're just curious about the world of violin making, I hope you find this video useful. So let's get to it. First of all, and this may seem obvious, but we're always surprised at how often people forget to do this, bring your own instrument to compare. Playing your own instrument gives you a feel for the room and a frame of reference. Room acoustics play a big role in how we perceive the sound of an instrument, so it's important to start with something you're familiar with. Once you're comfortable and warmed up, move on to a new instrument and maybe start with a scale to get a feel for the instrument's response and total qualities. Now, particularly if you're looking for your first serious violin, viola or cello and are coming from maybe a student instrument, it's quite possible that you've grown used to a certain type of response and adapted your playing to it. We sometimes see players trying instruments in a bit of a restrained way, keeping their playing within their comfort zone and around what they're used to. We strongly encourage you to do the exact opposite. Explore different points of contact between the bridge and the fingerboards, and don't be afraid to make an ugly sound to test the limits of the instrument. Now, when it comes to forming your own opinion, it helps to have the right vocabulary to describe the sound either to yourself, to a seller or a friend. Try to avoid words such as "I like this" or "dislike that", as they're not particularly descriptive or helpful. Knowing how to accurately describe the sound and response is a very useful skill to have because it makes you more confident about your choices and allows whoever is showing you the instruments to better understand what you're looking for. Warm, bright, clear, mellow, dark, responsive, strident, etc. are some examples of the vocabulary that can help you better describe the sound that you're looking for. It's also important to be realistic about your budget. High-end professional instruments can be expensive, so it helps to set an achievable budget beforehand. Avoid falling in love with an instrument that is outside your budget. It's easy to be less critical about a very expensive instrument that you can't afford, leaving you with the feeling that you'll have to settle for something that's not as good. While it's fun to try all sorts of instruments, and this is something we definitely recommend, if you're actively looking for something to buy, it's best to stick with your budget. Once you feel more confident and have identified the qualities that you're looking for, narrow down your choices quickly. Spending too much time trying out instruments that don't fit your criteria can be a waste of time and energy, quite frankly. So trust your instincts and don't be afraid to eliminate instruments that don't meet your expectations. At myluthia, we work very hard to have a good selection around any budget, so you can be happy with whatever you choose, and it will be a worthwhile instrument at that price range. Finally, be proactive about your time frame. Obviously, don't rush into a decision, but at the same time, don't set an arbitrary time frame if you don't have a precise idea of what you're looking for. So often players come to us at the beginning of their search with the idea that it will take them at least a year to find their perfect instrument, and this is only helpful if you already know what you want and are willing to use that time going around actively trying different instruments and being proactive about your search. Otherwise, you just risk missing out on a good instrument simply because the timing wasn't right. I'm going to start with my own cello, warm up, play a scale, and just try to find my place for trying instruments. Nice. I like this cello. It's very balanced and has a warm tone. So let's try something else. Let's see what a different instrument could sound like. It will immediately feel different, especially if you're not used to trying different cellos. And it's very tempting to just kind of play everything mezzo forte and just be very safe in your playing. But let's try to see how far we can push the instrument and really test the limits of what it's able to provide. Let's see. I'm trying to play as close to the bridge as it will let me, basically. And yes, the sound can sound a little bit forced, but that's the point. I'm really trying to test the limits. And I'm trying to do that on every string. So I think this is a fantastic cello. So maybe as an exercise, as I'm playing, try to find the right words to describe this cello, and then I'll move back into the first one I was playing and see how they differ. So I'll try to play that on the first cello. We hope that these tips have been helpful in your search for the right instrument, and remember to be patient, keep an open mind, and trust your instincts when making your final decision. If you have any thoughts or questions, please leave them in the comments, or feel free to reach us out at mylithia.co. Thanks for watching.